Have you ever just stopped right in the middle of a laugh and thought, what is actually happening right now? This weird sound, this almost convulsive thing our bodies do, where does it even come from? It's a question that feels so simple on the surface, but it's also incredibly deep. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of this universal human behavior and really dig into the science of why we laugh.
And you see, this question, it's not just about biology, it's woven deep into the very fabric of our cultures. In the Marathi language, the question is, Hasuka yeta. It's asking the very same thing, but it grounds our whole investigation in this incredibly rich tradition of humor and satire that we're going to explore a bit later. So we're looking at a behavior that is at the same time deeply personal and universally shared by all of us.
All right, so what's our game plan for unraveling this whole thing? First, we'll start at the very beginning with the evolutionary riddle of laughter itself. Then we'll try to crack the code of what actually makes something funny. After that, we'll take a tour of the laughing brain, discover how it works as a kind of powerful social glue, see it in action through the lens of a really vibrant culture, and finally, we'll get to the final analysis, the real, tangible benefits of a good laugh.
Okay, so our journey doesn't start in a comedy club. Nope, we've got to go way, way back, deep into our evolutionary past. You see, laughter is not some recent human invention. The roots of this behavior go back about 16 million years to the common ancestors we share with the great apes. What we experience as a chuckle actually started as a form of play panting, a signal they use during play fighting to basically say, hey, this is still fun, we're not actually fighting. It was, and it absolutely still is, a crucial social signal.
So here's the key takeaway. Laughter isn't just one single thing. It's so much more. From a biological standpoint, it's a signal that says we're safe and we're playing. Neurochemically, it's a powerful regulator that can literally change the chemistry in our brains. And from a sociological perspective, it's the glue that helps us build and maintain the incredibly complex social structures that really define us as humans. It's an amazingly efficient, multi-layered tool.
Okay, so if laughter is this ancient signal, what's actually pulling the trigger on it in our modern world? I mean, what makes it joke funny? Well, psychologists have been working on this for a long time. And one of the most powerful ideas out there is something called the benign violation theory. Let's break down exactly how this works.
So at its heart, the theory says that for something to be funny, you need two things to happen at the exact same time. First, you need a violation. This just means something happens that challenges our sense of what's normal. It breaks a rule. Could be a social norm, a language pattern, heck, even a law of physics. But, and this is absolutely critical, that violation also has to be benign. It has to be harmless.
And this creates this really delicate balance, right? A violation by itself isn't funny. It's just threatening or maybe offensive. I mean, think about it. Someone actually getting hurt, that's not funny. It's just, well, threatening. And a situation that's just benign with no violation, that's just boring. Nothing's happening. Humor lives in that perfect sweet spot where those two circles overlap. Tickling is a fantastic example. It's a physical violation, a sort of mock attack, but because you know the person is just playing, it's totally benign. And the result? Laughter.
So let's dive into the brain. How does this amazing organ actually produce such a complex behavior? Well, it turns out we don't just have one system for laughter. We have two totally distinct pathways, which really reflects its dual nature as both a raw, involuntary emotion and a very controlled social tool.
So on one hand, you've got spontaneous laughter. You know the one. The real, uncontrollable, can't-breathe kind of laugh that just erupts when you find something truly hilarious. That's controlled by a much older, subcortical part of the brain, the midline system, that's tied to our rawest emotions. This is the laugh that's really, really hard to fake. Then you've got volitional laughter. This is more of a polite chuckle you might use in a conversation. It's a learned behavior controlled by the newer, more advanced motor cortex, the same brain area that controls speech. It's a tool we use, often consciously, to show we agree and to build rapport with people.
And what's really cool is that brain scans totally back this up. When we hear that genuine, spontaneous laughter, our main auditory areas, like the superior temporal gyrus or STG, just light up. Our brain processes it as a really raw, important sound. But when we hear that more polite social laughter, it activates different areas, like the anterior medial prefrontal cortex. This is just fascinating because that part of the brain is key to mentalizing, which is basically our ability to think about what other people are thinking. So we're not just hearing a sound, we're actively analyzing a social signal.
And all of this brings us to what might be laughter's most important job of all, connecting us with each other.
I mean, if laughter evolved to help us live in social groups, how does it physically work to create those bonds? Well, the answer is inside our brain's own little pharmacy.
The actual physical act of laughing, that muscular effort, it triggers the release of endorphins in the brain. Endorphins, you can think of them as our body's own built-in opioids. They are powerful painkillers, but crucially, they also create feelings of euphoria, safety, and togetherness. It's the same system that gets activated when other primates groom each other. It's a neurochemical reward for social bonding. Laughing with someone, literally, on a chemical level, makes you feel closer to them.
And just let's take a second to really let that timescale sink in. We are talking about 16 million years. This is not some recent human adaptation. This chemical mechanism for creating bonds has been fine-tuned over millions and millions of years. That playful panting of our ancient ancestors, signaling that everything was safe, it laid the neurochemical groundwork for the incredibly complex social role that laughter plays for us today.
Okay, so we've got these universal biological systems hardwired into all of us. But how does that play out in the real world, in actual cultures? Well, let's look at a fascinating case study, the incredibly rich tradition of humor and satire in Marathi culture from Western India. Well, for centuries, Marathi folk theater has used laughter as this incredibly powerful tool for social commentary. You have forms like tamasha, which aren't just entertainment. They use this vibrant mix of song and dance to deliver really sharp satire about politics and society. Or barud, which uses humorous, metaphorical songs to teach spiritual lessons. In all of these forms, laughter is the delivery system for a much deeper message. And this idea is just perfectly captured in a quote from the legendary Marathi writer and humorist Prahlad Keshavatre, who is also known as Acharya Atre. He said, "Humor is the only divine quality of man." That really shows you the profound cultural value placed on wit, not just as fun, but as a higher form of insight and expression. And believe me, this tradition is far from ancient history. It is alive and well. A really popular modern TV show like Chala Hawa Yodia is a direct cultural descendant of these older folk forms. It uses comedy sketches and parody to comment on social norms, celebrities, daily life, proving that this benign violation idea is a timeless tool for poking fun at the status quo, and in doing so, bringing people together.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? The evolution, the neuroscience, the culture. So, to wrap this all up, let's look at the real, tangible benefits. Laughter isn't just good for the soul, it's literally good for your body. We're talking about laughter as medicine.
Let's break down these benefits one by one. First step, pain relief. As we now know, laughter releases those endorphins, which act as the body's natural painkillers. Then there's cardiovascular health. It actually improves your blood circulation and can lower blood pressure by stimulating nitric oxide, which is a molecule that relaxes your blood vessels. And of course, the big one, stress reduction. It actively lowers the levels of stress hormones like cortisol. So you see how it all connects? It's this beautiful, powerful feedback loop. Let's trace it one last time. It starts with a social connection that triggers laughter. That laughter then causes the brain to release endorphins. These chemicals reduce physical and emotional stress. And that shared feeling of well-being reinforces the social bond, which makes future connection and future laughter even more likely. It's a perfect self-sustaining cycle of health and togetherness.
And that brings us full circle. We've established that laughter is this universal biological language that's been hardwired into our brains over millions of years. It's a signal of safety, a tool for bonding, and a mirror that reflects our culture. So knowing everything we've talked about, the final question isn't really for me to answer, it's for you. What is it that makes you laugh? And what does that ancient, deeply personal signal say about who you are and the connections you choose to build?